a year ago, I called up a few of my colleagues and I said, who do you know and can you introduce me? Okay? And they did, and the rest is just happens. So if you are in the academic fields, that's part of the way to go through. If there is a specialty group, even the association and so on. If you are in management and in leadership position, I think you need to find out where is the decision-making tables. And go in there and let's say you have a committee that decides on the policies of how to do breastfeeding. You talked about breastfeeding, right? And you find that the practices are not evidence-based practices. To say, I would like to be part of the group and introduce some ideas. And it takes a process until they trust you, they're interested in what you're doing. It's being humble but being knowledgeable. Because if you go in and you say these policies are garbage, and not 80% of it is not evidence-based, they will never let you through the door again. But if you say, I'm interested in this, how can I be part of this? And gradually bringing a little bit here, a little bit there. Before you turn around in a year or a year and a half, you will be chairing the committee. But it's the art in addition to the science. You know, people say evidence, evidence, evidence. It's how you bring that evidence that's going to make a difference if people work with you or leave you out of the picture and you're frustrated. I said in a previous book we were, find some people that you think succeed in doing this and ask them to mentor you, even if they are not in your field. So when you go to a meeting, you call up that person and say, can we talk about it? I'm going to this meeting, this is the issue, give me some advice. Can we role play? Can I try this, can I try that? Don't go into a meeting with 50 slides with numbers all over it. Doesn't work. Make it simple and say to them, you know, I go into meetings and present a lot of punchline. And I say to them, it's all evidence-based. You want to see the evidence, here's the reference list, or I can give you the articles. But I don't go with tables, with regressions, or with this, with that. You lose people. So you go in with synthesis of saying, the research says that by increasing one nurse per shift, you will reduce the mortality by, you know, fewer people will die, so fewer people will do this, that, or another. So make it simple, you know? In the beginning, we have the temptation to sound smart because we are PhD students, we have all this knowledge, or we are PhD graduates. The simpler you make it, the better you can communicate. You are the communication person, right? So, it's not. And I would say to you that if you are not in academia, when I look, now I don't work for money. This is, I do as a volunteer. But I had 11 different jobs in my career. So I had different experiences that I learned from. I worked in hospitals a lot. I worked in community. I worked in government. I did all kind of jobs, nursing and non-nursing. And they all gave me the skills and the experience to be who I am today. Okay? So even if you're an academic, get on that committee, and then get on another committee, and taste around and figure out where it will work. And hopefully it will work. Not always, you know. I got kicked out of committees because I didn't want to do the work because I didn't like what they were doing. Or I left committees because I didn't think I'm making a difference. But then along the way, I was involved in many initiatives that were important, and I learned and I contributed. What else?
So I think there were several hands that went up when asked how many people are interested in a more of a traditional academic role. And one of the things that you've talked about at this conference is nurses making an impact at a global stage. And I know you suggest the World Bank and WHO and others. Can us who want to be in more traditional academic roles have an influence at that level without, working full time at the WHO? What does that look like? And how do we get their thoughts on that?
Great question. Again, I think as you build your expertise, you will get involved. But the question how you get involved early on, because I think it is getting involved early on that is important. And I think there are multiple ways. I strongly recommend that you look for opportunities to work with some of those organizations. So if you are interested in maternal child, or you are interested in human resources, or you are interested in cancer, what are the global organizations, and can you go and spend some time with them and see what they're working on? It takes time, energy, and money, but it's an education that will give you a very powerful ability. Then as you become a faculty, there are many ways that you can say, I want to get involved. So let's say you have sabbaticals, and you say, I want to go and spend 3 months at the World Bank, this department. Or I want to spend 3 months at the United Nations with this department. And it doesn't have to be nursing. It could be gender, it can be maternal child, it can be poverty, it can be a lot of different things that link to what you're doing. But as Julian was saying to me that she was trying electronically to access that information, get personal contact. It's easy to find today emails of people and send an email, not with a 50-page story. I'm studying this, I'm going to be in somewhere, can we talk, can we Skype? I'm interested in this, I'm interested in that. Also, if you start to talk to people, you will find someone who knows someone who knows someone. The world is very small. So you will get connected that way. I see several, for example, there is an individual in New York University whose work is human resources and economic evaluation, and that's my field, so I know a bit the people in that area a bit more. So Allison, who is in the College of Nursing, has just been commissioned to do a paper for the World Bank, and she has been involved with them in many different ways. The agenda for global health is around universal health coverage, non-communicable diseases, maternal child, poverty, and people looking for individuals who are interested in that field. You don't have to wait to become an expert. What you have now with the knowledge of the literature and so on, it's what people are hungry for. And you might get some uptake from it, you might not. So I think there are a lot of ways that you can be involved. The other thing I would say, find out who has a program of research. So I think many of you know Linda Aiken, right? Linda Aiken from the University of Pennsylvania. She has done work on, again, the impact of nurses on outcome and organizational issues in many countries. She has multiple people that work in her shop. Who she knows, how she can connect, who is your dean of the university. Also look at other departments in your university. There are political science people, there are management people, there are economic department and so on. Who in the university is connected to OECD or connected to some others? And you start the bubble. Don't hesitate to call up somebody and say, can I have half an hour of your time? You know, we all have egos. So if you come in and you say to that person, I was so impressed with what I read about your work. I need your advice. Or I'm interested in this and I would like to learn more about it. So they might say to you, blah, 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 and nothing will happen. But somebody might say, this is great. How have you considered talking about this? Have you considered to talk about that? It's what my colleagues call information interviews. And don't be shy about it. If you're going to be shy about it, don't complain in 10 years that you have all this passion about things, but you didn't make an impact. You have to learn to put yourself out there. So I will tell you a secret. I am the biggest introvert that you can find. When I do this chart on introvert, how I fall off the chart, that's how I am an introvert. But I'm passionate about things, so I taught myself and kind of said, okay, this is how you do it. And I don't stay behind and stay quiet, but I'm a troublemaker because I want to change things. So, and I call up somebody and say, let's talk. And if that person is important and is not helpful, I come back again. I don't kind of say, okay, I talked to them one time. I don't know how many of you were in the session with Margaret Cheng. That was a case in point, okay? WHO really doesn't care for nursing, I'm sorry. You know, it's sad, but that's the reality. I have gone and saw Margaret and said to her, you don't really care for nursing. How do you take some of that opportunity and mirror it back in a way that it's not, she doesn't think that I insulted her, but in a cute way, put the agenda further and continue to work, because saying we don't care about the WHO is not an option, because what they do has an impact on all of our population. But we need to go back and find this door open, that door open, squeeze through here, squeeze through that. Watch your nose so it doesn't get banged when somebody closes the door on you. But it's tough. It's tough. It's not a picnic. And even myself at this stage of my career, I have people who don't let through the door. So you find somebody else and you keep going and so on. So I think there are many ways, but you have to teach yourself from early on. You know, don't wait to say, when I'm an expert then, too late. This is the time, it's never too soon to say, okay, I'm going to work on this, I'm going to work on that. And yeah, you will be kicked back a bit and then you will succeed. But there are a lot of people who want to work with us, more than you imagine. I think we're always afraid, but there are more people that want to work with us than not. And I wonder if any one of you want to share a success story where you tried it and it worked.
Well, I was going to say case in point. So Judith came to speak to University of Toronto students about a year ago, and Jillian and I kind of at the end of the session just said, we loved your speech, what can we do to help? And now we're spending days assisting Judith and getting to sit in on meetings. So you put yourself out there a little bit and doors will open. And you don't have to have a plan for what that initial meeting, it's not like, oh, I'm going to talk to them and this is going to happen and, plan it out. You just, if somebody inspires you or if something interests you, just make yourself known and you get pulled into things, so.
I get a bit hesitant about information interviews sometimes because people that I would love to have information interviews are some of the busiest people. I guess everyone's busy these days, but so I worry that I'm wasting their time, sort of thing. And I often, after these interviews, feel that it was not a waste of their time, and they express that, oh, it was lovely to meet you, and you're now involved in 8 new things. But I have that hesitation at times about that, and I know you were asking for questions with it, or for stories, but what you said just kind of triggered that.
But many of us do.
Yeah.
And I think as women, we have it more than men. And there are 2 very good books, one called The Confidence Factor, and the second called Lean In. And if you look at those 2 books, they interviewed the most powerful women in the world now. And they all talk about that hesitancy and the insecurity and so on. We all have it, I don't feel very confident or whatever when to go and talk to somebody who I don't really have an agenda of what to talk to them about. But if I think it's important, I force myself. And sometimes it works, sometimes it's not, And I go to meetings, and because I'm an introvert, I run to the bathroom and hide for a few minutes to kind of breathe again and go out, because it's hard. It is hard, and it's hard for me at the age of 65 and with all the accomplishments. So I can only imagine how hard it is to others, but that's part of the game. I love the opportunity when things work. I wouldn't trade being up there and giving it to Margaret Chan. It's part of that drive and passion and commitment. So, but I think acknowledging it and saying it's hard for all of us.
My study, like I was saying, it was a critical ethnography, and I did it in Ghana. And so it had a big political kind of component to it. And so I actually linked with UNFPA in Ghana, and I had worked a lot with them. And so as part of this, I knew that I had to go see the Minister of Health and the Minister of Gender. And that was really terrifying in a country that, and being a critical ethnography was not just kind of asking, just the everyday questions. It was also challenging the things that they were saying back to me. And so we had one interview, and after I analyzed my data, I returned back to Ghana and to really challenge them on many of the points that they had already made. Some of that was about how money was being distributed.
Yeah.
And things. And I certainly felt like I wasn't in a position really, to do that, because I felt like, well, what did I really know as a PhD student to do? And, I thinking or reflecting back on that, I knew more than I thought.